Rob Gillio. How are you?
Oh, pretty good, Lucy. How are you doing today?
Doing fabulous on a July 28th, almost the end of the summer. Wow,
Yeah, it,
right?
it's gone by quickly. Well, I just drove cross country and arrived at my daughter's home and just met my first granddaughter, who is
Oh,
absolutely,
yay.
yeah. So she's just absolutely gorgeous and tiny and precious, which just it's the gift of life, the gift of our health. Here in your 60s, I can't believe that a human body can survive this long with all the challenges. It's such a gift to be healthy, and we're here to protect it. So, what are we going to do on today's call to protect the gift?
Yeah, if you've been following us, we went ahead and launched a 10-part summer learning series called My Fit Family Force. As we launched some cool initiatives for folks to kind of gamify this whole concept of healthy citizenship. I mean, really, population health is a team sport, and that's what Force for Health and Reality Health Games is all about. It's to challenge the individual or the group leader, whether you're a mom, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a nonprofit based organization or a business leader. You're either a individual or a leader, but both require this effort to be, a force for health, to protect the gift, and to be a healthy citizen all the way around. So, this is a precursor to some exciting things that we have coming up in the fall. We're actually going to be launching an international, we'll call it, competition where we are pitting some communities up against each other, pitting some organizations up against each other, maybe even some families up against each other in this Fit Family Force, which is a new type of league, again, that kind of gamifies how you move, learn, serve, and earn as an individual and as a group leader. So my name is Lucy Howell. I represent the wonderful state of Arizona. I'm based here in Tucson, Arizona, and allow me to introduce my co-host, Dr. Robert Gillio. Rob, why don't you tell them where you are based and a little bit about who you are, just
I
to
live in
kick us off
I,
here.
I live in State College, Pennsylvania, right in the middle of Pennsylvania. Moved there to help take care of my um, mother-in-law, but I also moved there in part to work with the Ben Franklin Technology Center, where we've been nurtured into launching our company and our effort. We're trying to create a movement. I'm a physician turned health educator and community activist, trying to really help people take care of themselves first, and then use what they've learned to help take care of others. And so I'm in State College, Pennsylvania, and Lucy and I are partners in this company, and we think launching the Reality Health Games, creating a new type of competition, kind of an Olympics for the rest of us, but we're rewarded for our movement, our learning, and our community service with real world bragging rights and some pretty cool incentives. And it's so much fun, Lucy, because we've been talking with people in Mexico and Africa, as well as State College or Tucson, Chicago or Philadelphia. Um, so it's fun that we're getting these um, inquiries from people, from homeschool moms, from churches, from swimming coaches. It's very exciting to me to see that there's a lot of need in organizations to really help without being tech savvy and without being a big investor, to really have a wellness program or an incentives program. Um, Companies have something called corporate social responsibility, which companies are really striving increasingly to step out into the neighborhoods and into the community to do good. And Reality Health Games gives them that opportunity with a turnkey solution that's part of a simple, cheap wellness program. So that's kind of an exciting thing. Well, with that clinic you're talking to in Arizona, um, Very
Hey,
kind.
if nothing else, we're going to do a Ohio, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and perhaps Kenya and Ghana challenge this fall. And if anybody else wants to come in and play, knock yourself out. We got a little bit of a late start. Let me just go ahead and kind of preview what we've got coming up during this next power hour. So we generally kick off the first segment with just a discussion on Protect the Gift. I know that Rob's got a video or two. Maybe we'll only be able to show one today since we got a little late start with some July Health Awareness Months. And everything that you do at the Force for Health earns you points, whether you're stepping or learning or moving or serving. It's really meant to be a mixed media platform to incentivize engagement. So we'll be talking a little bit about coaching tips, focusing on Senior Force, our second segment, which actually will be kicking off here in just a few minutes from 4:16 to 4:30. And then we're going to be highlighting one of our partners, Educom, which is a global nonprofit that's looking to really create an impact and create and earn money for scholarships for students across Africa, but focus on Ghana. But they've done some fabulous things throughout the past year, and we wanted to brag about them a little bit. And then we're also going to focus in on another one of our STEAM teams, multi-generational STEAM teams called You Do Matter with Mr. Josh Williams to close out the hour. So I don't think I missed anything. So Rob, talking about this July. Now it's July 28th. That's okay. We just opened the challenge to be able to earn this badge. So you'll have the whole year to actually get caught up and earn this. But, I'm going to take this off a little bit. And I know that you had done some, a quick video, right? You want to go ahead and talk about.
I think if we're looking at this, there's videos on juvenile arthritis, in cleft palate and craniofacial abnormalities, as well as on group B strep, are three major important things that we've have added to and are in the course, the free basics course for the July challenge. They're also in there is cord blood and sunlight safety, UV safety month. So I think, we don't have, I'm not sure of the time you have here, Lucy, at 7:14 or, 14 after the hour. But there's 2 to 3 minute videos, or actually 4 to 5 minute videos in each one of these that really feature anatomy, on physiology, and some tips on parenting and dealing with these health challenges.
And since really we are our next segment, our next guest doesn't come in until our third segment. So why don't we go ahead and roll through one of these videos just to give everybody a sense on the types of content that we're just asking and challenging people to increase their health literacy awareness skills around, right?
I think cleft palate becomes of big interest to me because it highlights a few things, such as some of my earlier experience with telemedicine. It really exposed me to examining kids in other parts of the world and having it those pictures serve as an attachment to an email that got doctors in this country to figure out, is it worth going overseas and setting up a clinic to operate?
Why don't we go ahead and play one of those videos? And again, if you were a member at the Force for Health and you were watching this video, you would actually earn points and badges for doing so. But for purpose of just an example, let's go ahead and play one of those. And we'll see what we're talking about.
Hi, it's Dr. Robert Gilliam at the Force for Health. We work here to protect the gift of health. Health sustains life, and some of us are born into situations that are harder to stay or even become healthy. One of those is cleft palate, and this is July, and it's time to celebrate or be aware of, at least, cranial meaning skull and facial abnormalities. Cleft palate is predominantly the main one, and let me share my screen and talk a little bit about this, just for your awareness. If we were to look at a cross section just under the skin here, and we'd see this is the Force for Health Human 360 animations. I'm looking at a skull from the side. Here's the ear, here's the nose, for instance. Here's the teeth, and this is the face head on. If the center portions don't develop, they sometimes can fail to develop. I'm looking as if we had cut the skull in half. This is not a real skull. This is an animation, so don't get too grossed out here. But if this bone here is part of the maxilla, bone setting where the maxillary sinus is above the nose to the side and where the center part of the nose is, and this part, the palatine portion of the roof of the mouth, the bony palatine area, if this area is missing, that is sometimes known as a cleft palate. Here's the tongue is usually not affected. It usually exists. The chin is usually there. Sometimes it's back a little bit, something called micrognathia. The symptoms of what a child might look like is something like this, where it can be one side or both sides, where the nose can be involved or not involved. Oftentimes, with a cleft palate without the lip involvement, it can be a normal looking face, but when you open the child's mouth and look, there's like a split in the top here. If it goes all the way to the front of the face and affects the muscle in the skin, that's a cleft lip and palate. This occurs about 1 in 20,000 live births. It's relatively rare. One of the groups I worked with on this in my earlier life was a group called Operation Smile. And what was fun about it is this is the early days of telemedicine. I helped develop a system that was called Email with Attachments. We called it Store and Forward Telemedicine then. It was before email. But we were able to send an image like this from somewhere, say in Africa, back to the United States. And a group of surgeons, if they got enough images and figured out that they could help those people, Operation Smile would fund and do a trip overseas. They continue to do wonderfully good work with surgeons here, but also with training surgeons and parents over there, wherever they're doing their service. So I just wanted to make you aware that this is a condition that comes usually from nothing the mother or father did wrong that we are aware of, no environmental thing, doesn't necessarily run in families, but it can affect the survival of a child because with that issue here, as they're nursing or taking from a bottle, as they suck, sometimes that fluid can come up and right out the nose, or they can't get a tight seal. Sometimes these children die in early childhood. Others go on to have speech impediments that never change, but it's a treatable condition with relatively simple medical techniques. I say simple from a standpoint of the standards we have here in America, but it's something that can be done overseas in a lot of situations. An authoritative site is the Operation Smile site, but also the Mayo Clinic site where I go for a lot of my trusted information. I hope this helps you be appreciative of the challenges of a parent or a child dealing with a cleft palate. Please be empathetic and kind when you see a child and don't stare. Please be generous with your support of organizations that are trying to address this condition. And the beauty of it is it's a normal life once it's taken care of. All right, thank you for being a force for health. Protect the gift, your health and the health of others. Take care.
Well, and those explanations are always very interesting to me because I guess I go along life. You know, you are the chief medical officer here. I just represent the average mom. I know what I should know to protect my family, but until I see explanations like that, maybe with the 360 human digital anatomy components, it then just makes me more aware of these certain conditions. So, and you're so good at explaining these types of things, Rob. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. But I think the kind of a takeaway for me with this is that the 360 anatomy helps the mother, father, brother, sister understand it better because they need to really be knowledgeable when they go into the doctor or just after the doctor's appointment, make sure they understand things. Listen carefully to this. 1 in 20,000 births. That means an obstetrician might see 1 in their career if they're lucky, maybe 2, maybe 3. So if you're in say a rural area or an area that doesn't do a lot of deliveries, and you have a feeling that people don't quite understand um, what's going on with how to treat it, or they're trying to just pat you on the head and say, "It's be okay, mom. He'll grow out of it, or she'll grow out of it." Seek help in a location that does research on it. Force for Health can help you find that, but I think most people, it's your university medical school near you is the next place to call and say, do you have a cleft palate clinic? Do you have a surgeon does work with cleft palate? That's important with almost all these conditions that are rare. That's where a mom can take a child with a condition. So that's where empowering the mom and other family members or an older patient for that matter on a condition really helps them get the best care from someone who's very experienced with it. Don't just assume it's everything can be done if your doctor says, I don't know what to do.
And again, it might be a rare instance, but these are recognized health month observances as per the CDC and the National Institutes on Health, and we just wanted to elevate some of these awareness points. So if you'd like to learn more and earn points as we go along this new healthy year together, then we are happy to do so, and make sure that you come visit us at the Force for Health. So let's just go ahead and take a quick little break. We'll be back in just 60 seconds. We just wanted to show you a quick a message from one of our other partners, Dailies. If you are a young family and you've got kids between the ages of 3 to 10 that you might want some help with tele-mentoring or tele-tutoring, Dailies Pods is the partner to look at. So go ahead. We'll be right back in about 60 seconds.
Dailies is the leading educational success platform that provides families with the resources they need to help their children succeed. Through live personalized classes with certified educators, rich daily reports, and 24/7 academic support, we provide you with a personalized learning solution designed specifically to help your child surpass their academic goals. We offer supplementary learning experiences through Dailies Pods and a full comprehensive homeschool option through Dailies School. Unlock personalized learning for your child with Dailies.
Okay, Rob. So we are back for segment 2, but we're going to make this a little bit shorter. That first segment ran a little bit longer, but I really like this segment. And, this whole concept of senior force. So let's just kind of set the stage a little bit. We're going to turn coaching tips into tips for and about our senior force challenge and why this really matters for everybody in the family. And Rob, I know that you are actively caring for a couple different mamas, and so I wanted to just kind of set the stage, walk you through a couple of these photos that you wanted to make a quick comment about, and then maybe land on one example of a senior force Learn It challenge.
Well, here you have a picture of two of my daughters. They both happen to be healthcare professionals, but they could be librarians or car mechanics as far as I'm concerned. But their love for their grandmother helps. She's 98 years old, helps keep her alive. Now, she lives alone because she wants to in the home. She lived with her husband for 58 years, and for the last 20 years, she's been living alone. But they call her. She now FaceTimes them or texts them, except she's now going blind. So the phone becomes their connection. And these guys drive 4 to 8 hours to come visit when they get some time off. The family is together often and includes the senior in those events that are hard to do. Here you see two mothers-in-law, an aunt, and a couple other daughters. But you bring them to that graduation, you bring them to that celebration, the play, the music event, the parade, or whatever outing. And you capture it in pictures, and you capture the good moments. Every one of these people in this image has their own health issues, physical or mental, aging or younger people or young mom challenges or pregnancy challenge, whatever. They've all have issues, but they come together and you take time to celebrate together. You care about each other, but you also celebrate each other and you keep checking on each other.
And you know, so this whole concept of senior force, just because you're not a senior doesn't mean that you shouldn't go challenge yourself to see if you know what some of the issues are that would help you either be more patient with perhaps grandma or auntie, maybe help facilitate a decrease in their anxiety. So the more we know about the situation, how we can help them protect the gift, then I think that blends into this whole Fit Family Force initiative and challenge, right?
And I think there's a reverse mentoring that happens. The senior needs some help in mentoring with technologies that didn't exist until they were seniors. I mean, my 98-year-old mother is using an iPad, but she was trained by, at the time, her 19-year-old granddaughter and her, at the time, 50-ish-year-old son. So the other way around, though, the wisdom of parenting, the wisdom of dealing with social issues, the wisdom of surviving a Holocaust, the wisdom of all the things that if they've seen hate in America, they've seen prejudice, they've seen lack of access to education opportunities, job opportunities, they lived through it, they have survived it. That wisdom comes down the other way. The thing that's a challenge for my daughters that are not medical professionals, and even for me, is suddenly realizing that the thing someone is saying to me is a challenge. And one of those challenges might be, you know, I swear I have a pair of scissors in this drawer. Somebody moved my scissors, or somebody moved my coffee mug, or where someone came and stole my glasses. And this sense of losing one's items is a very frightening thing for a person, especially if they're not realizing that they are forgetting it and they've lost the point of which they remember they are forgetful. That's a very dangerous point. And so helping someone with the tips of coming in to not be judgmental, but helping someone not by reorganizing their drawers to make life easier for them. So there's a whole series of tips that are for people like myself and my daughters. And then there's a whole series on the other side of Senior Force for the senior to say, hey, you're alone a lot of the time. You've got this computer, this iPad, this telephone, or this pen and stationery. What can you do to stay with it, to stay alive and alert? For instance, want to play some games, mind games? That's one of the challenges, those types of things.
And so we've got just a little 90-second video. Let's just show an example of, you know, the case of the missing items.
Okay.
Right?
The case study of the missing items. You know, when you're dealing with someone that has some memory issues, we have some issues to deal with there. When you go to help someone and you help rearrange their junk drawer or their dresser or their closet, or you move simple things around that you don't think much of, suddenly can become a very disturbing and disabling function for someone. You know, part of the whole control thing you have when you're losing your memory is to be very compulsive about where things are, where you put that newspaper, where the salt shaker is at the end of a meal, where the car keys are, where that extra set of dollar bills are in a certain drawer. Moving things around, even being well-meaning, can have that person think they are losing their memory or have them feeling a total loss of control, and it's very anxiety-provoking. So working with someone to help support, and yeah, you got to put up with some of the compulsive behaviors that may seem a little irrational, but it's a way to help someone feel like they're in control. And that becomes very important at a time when they may be aware that they are losing some of their physical or mental function or independence. All right. Don't go straighten up things without permission or without involvement of the person, and be very sensitive to how important it is that they are in control of the things they can control.
See, that's a perfect example. I mean, I remember listening to that when I was on the treadmill and I was just going through all of your case studies, thinking I knew everything. But then every single one of those little reminders, just I felt better about then the next time I was going to either work or even be with my own dad. You know, the time we spent with our aging parents is very, very special. So if we can minimize some of those conflicts or frustrations just by being a little bit more empathetic to the situation, I think that's the goal of my Fit Family Force and why we want our coaching tip to include be cognizant of how we can protect the gift and the balance and the wellness of the seniors in our life,
Well,
right?
you just said something. I know this is the wrap up on this segment, all right? But the protecting the balance, the number one thing that teenagers can do when they walk in to see grandma is to look for the trip hazard. So if you don't watch any other one of those videos, have your teenagers sit down and watch the trip hazards one. My mother's lost 3 friends to broken hips in the last 3 years. They fall, they break their hip, they get a blood clot, or they hit their head, and they die within days or months. Trip hazards, prevent the fall. So keep the balance of as you support them. If there's one segment to watch, please watch that one.
Okay, wonderful. And since we can, we're just going to go ahead and be nimble and respond here, and just go right through to our third segment. How's that? Because we've got a whole studio full of special guests for our next featured guest. You know, Josh Williams is somebody that both Rob and I have known for a while. Rob knows him way back from Hurricane Katrina response days. We helped him launch a book that he wrote recently called All Aboard for STEAM, and why it's never too early or too late to energize STEAM for all. And this whole concept of science, technology, education, arts, and math all in. And then to teach that and to promote it on a multi-generational level is fun. So I'm going to ask Josh, and then he's got a couple special guests in here, and we're gonna pull. Let's see, is Jace going to be able to come in here? And I'm going to pull this off really fast. So Josh, got a little feedback there.
I don't know if that's on my end or not. I don't think it is.
Let's see. Let's just go ahead and kick this off. Got a little bit of feedback.
Maybe on night.
I just went ahead and muted Night right now.
Okay.
And again, to kind of set the stage, let me go ahead and we were fortunate to work with you over the last 2 years. You've been hosting a group of multi-generational participants in this club that you call You Do Matter, this team, You Do Matter. It was, when we worked with you, it was on Saturdays for about 90 minutes, and you'd have anywhere from 15 to 25 folks show up. And what I loved about it is that there were, you know, kids as young as Night, you know, and Jace, if he can come on board here, we'll also add Jason to the stream. Hey, Jace. How you doing? Let's go ahead and pull that camera down a little bit so we can see you. And again, what we really loved is that there were aunties, and we saw teens helping the seniors connect with the digital health apps. And so as we pull together this family effort of highlighting STEAM and how we can affect our own health and also provide opportunities and access for technology and learning opportunities for those that want to lean in and learn with you. We're just excited to be here. And there was a couple highlights from the year. I just want to play 1 or 2 of those videos, and the rest of the segment we can go ahead and get some feedback and open it up a little bit. So let me just kind of set the stage here. One of the coolest things was on January 15th, 2021. So this is last year. It's Martin Luther King birthday, right? And it was the weekend. And that day, Saturday, was January 15th. And these kids, and we were blessed to actually have the executive director of the Martin Luther King Memorial Foundation as part of our meeting. in here. And I'm not going to play that part, but as part of that upside, 2 of the students were actually featured. Their poems were actually read and featured as part of the actual Martin Luther King Memorial Celebration that week. So I'm going to play one of those poems, and then I want to go ahead and show you how we actually made some news coverage. So hold on one second, and this is Alejandro Bailey.
My name is Alejandro Bailey, and I am a graduating senior at Benjamin Franklin High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Currently, I am committed to Tulane University. All of this was made possible by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the many other African Americans throughout history who stood up for our rights. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I was given the same education as people of other skin colors. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I was able to dream big and actually chase those dreams. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I found a community I can call a family. Because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I am able to live like all human beings should. And lastly, because of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I am judged by the contents of my character instead of the color of my skin, just as he intended. Because of his sacrifices and contributions, I stand before you today a young, gifted, proud Black scholar whose dreams and aspirations are endless. Thank you and happy birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Made this MLK Day holiday different from the past, but the dream, it still lives on. Just ahead, how so many of you are honoring it today, and as we're going to break, hear from local students recognized nationally on this National Day of Service. Take a listen.
When I think about my deepest fear, it is not that I'm not equipped or not safe. My deepest fear is that I am powerful beyond measure.
Because of his sacrifices and contributions, I stand before you today a young, gifted, proud Black scholar whose dreams and aspirations are endless.
That's it. You know,
That was great.
exactly. So, Jace, welcome to my Fit Family Force, and Knight, welcome to my Fit Family Force. Josh, I hand the baton to you. Tell us a little bit about You Do Matter. Why are you doing what you're doing, and what are your goals for the organization?
Thank you, Lucy. First to you and Dr. Rob, we want to thank you guys for being there to support us on this endeavor. You Do Matter was started for the simple purpose of trying to get our kids to understand a different segment of technology that they weren't accustomed to learning in everyday schooling. So we tried to bring back those components of science, engineering, technology, arts, and math back to a Saturday evening class or a Saturday morning class that students could actually come in and actually learn some of those technologies that they weren't getting at school. We were very successful with that. And as you have seen, Alejandro actually started in the program in the 6th grade. Now he just finished his first year at Tulane University. And we are absolutely proud of him. Who we have with us that's actually bringing up the next generation, of course, is Knight and Jace. Knight joined the program at the age of 5. One of the youngest kids that we ever accepted, because we didn't think that at the age of 5 they were ready for technology. But Knight called me probably about 6 or 7 times, right along with his mom, about letting him be a part of the program, that he can hang in there. And I am very proud to say that, over the course, Knight and Jace worked together to actually build a robot at Delgado Community College. They actually had an opportunity to learn how to code that particular robot at Delgado, and it's actually just been it's been a real treat to see them, how they embrace this technology and just have a quest for learning more about it. And like I said, Jace is, I think, 10 now. He's been in the program since he was 8. And they're both just, like I said, these outstanding young people are continuing to strive to learn and to be better citizens. And that's what we aim to please at You Do Matter.
Well, from my heart, and I know Rob will speak to this also, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your dedication to these kids. And looks like we lost Jace there for a second, so we'll see if he can come back in. But
Okay.
Knight, it's nice to meet you, buddy. Can you hear us okay? Oh, let me unmute him. My bad.
Yeah, he's muted.
Knight, can you hear us? All righty. So tell us a little bit about what you've learned with You Do Matter. Oops. We still on mute? Hold on. Let's try that again. Try that again.
Lip moving.
Oh, you know what? I'm getting a little technical glitch saying that can't unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected. So we may have to reschedule Knight if we can't get this figured out right now, and that's okay because we'll go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Nike, we're having trouble hearing you, so we got to talk in sign language. All right, can you look at the camera? Can you give me a thumbs up if you've learned something in this program, or a thumbs down if you kind of want to quit? Do you understand me?
Knight, how about a simple thumbs up? Can you hear us?
Good.
Okay, he can hear us. It's just that his mic's not connected, and we probably needed to check that prior to coming on. But we'll go ahead. We're going to schedule a specific little 10-minute spotlight for you, Knight, so we can get some pearls of wisdom out of you. Okay, I'm sorry that your mic's not working well here.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you later, man. Did Jace come back in?
Jace tried to come back in, and but I'm not seeing his camera right now.
Well, you know what, though? This brings up a really good, important point that we're discovering in not only in our work in Africa, our work in Huntington, Pennsylvania, but also our work in inner city New Orleans or center city Cleveland, whatever. In urban centers, there are areas where the internet is not great at whatever money you may have. You can't buy the good stuff, or some people have challenges affording it, or the technology support to connect to it adequately. So I think there's a whole technology gap, Josh, that by making your kids more technology literate, I get excited because I remember a project you did a little bit further back is you were teaching the kids how to use GIS, the map, and with the map, how to identify where there were hazards in the community that the health department needed to deal with, the piles of trash, or a rat was seen, or those types of things. So by enabling the technology of the kids, they then enable their parents and eventually get the policymakers, lawmakers, and corporate to improve the technology for their community. I mean, that GIS thing was phenomenal. Lucy, these guys were part of a project right after Katrina where the city's health and sanitation department used their data. Do they send a tiny little pickup truck to pick up 2 bags of trash? Or do they send a bulldozer and a backhoe and a big dump truck because an entire household or blocks worth of a whole neighborhood had trash on the street? His kids were part of that with You Do Matter.
And Jace is back, so we'll see if we can get any part of his mic going. Hi, Jace. Can you hear us okay?
Talk to us, man. Can you hear us?
Jace, can you hear us? We're going to maybe have to come back. Test. We'll go ahead. Well, but you know what, Josh, we'll go ahead and schedule some time so that we can kind of deep dive on this. You know, I know that we're going to have a kickoff for You Do Matter next week on Wednesday at 7. And we'll go ahead and put that into the link that we've got on the Facebook deal.
Okay.
But one of the things that Rob just said was, we're experiencing right now. We're experiencing what families all over are experiencing, which is literally a barrier, a digital divide and gap because of either internet connectivity, access to laptop, access to devices, whether that's phone, iPad, but even on a phone, I remember a series of weekends that we worked together. It's so hard for kids to come in on a phone and expect to digitally
Well,
learn off of a phone.
well, that's where what Josh is doing with STEAM education as an enrichment program becomes very important for anyone who's watching this. All those kids that had those difficulties or had to share that laptop or phone with mom, they fell behind, some of which fell behind a full year during that year. And the school systems said, let's promote them anyways. And so these kids are going into 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 12th grade a year behind on their math, science, writing, on everything. So any enrichment on a Saturday or in the evenings, or with what we're doing with Force for Health, Josh, with us, we've given a grant to your organization to be able to use any of our content. And so if they're working, they want to learn anatomy and physiology, and they want to learn how to do service projects in the community. They want to write, they want to publish, they want to blog, they want to learn how to do graphics or use Canva or build animations. It's there, So we want to help you help the kids catch up, not just move ahead.
It's a great transition into like our next guest. So just to wrap this up really quickly, Josh, you're looking to recruit both leaders and all ages, really, for You Do Matter.
I wanted to add that, Lucy. You're right.
Yeah.
All ages now.
It's really all ages, and it will be a Saturday morning program that will be supported with 90 minutes of live instruction. And again, you'll be able to kind of play on our Force for Health kind of network and apps. And so they'll have kind of wellness opportunities. And each Saturday, they're actually introduced to some type of mentor in the community. These kids were introduced to state legislators in Louisiana.
They interviewed
with
them.
Direct access to how can we help. Right.
That's one of the components of the program as well, too. Is to actually get them to be introduced to some of those people who they normally sometimes only read about or hear on the radio, but to actually get an opportunity to talk to them and speak to them. So
and we've got some great examples of that with the 10-year-old introducing the state senator, and those are all on our site, advancethedream.com or Force for Health. So, Josh, thank you so much for joining. I'm really, really bummed that maybe we needed to do a little mic check with Jace and Knight.
We'll do that next time, because I think everybody will want to hear what they got to say.
Absolutely.
I sure do.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us. And again, we'll go ahead and put the link for anybody that's interested in the welcome and launch kickoff for our call next week with You Do Matter, which will be Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's free to attend. If you're wanting to learn for yourself or for one of your children, please join. And Josh, we'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot, Lucy and Rob.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Remember, you do matter.
Exactly. Okay, so it's actually a perfect segue, because our next guest with EduCom, and I know you're very involved with EduCom, is tackling exactly that, from giving books to giving laptops to giving even water, which is just blowing me away. Again, we're kind of going right through our little break, right into our last segment, because we're running a little bit late. Lawrence Fianco is the founder of EduCom. He's actually based here in Indiana, but EduCom is a global organization. And one of these projects that they recently did, you can see this picture in the background, they literally visited Ghana, saw a need. They were aware of water need. They cared, and they wanted to share. So, Lawrence, I'm going to bring you onto the stream. I'm going to take this out, and welcome to Fit Family Force Power Hour. And I'm just so amazed at what you and Valerie and Christine and the whole crew, Edward, have been able to do in the last, 12 months with books and laptops. So welcome to our last segment. And you are our Force for Health Hero highlights, spotlight. So we're looking forward to doing some cool things with you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you for having me, Lucy, and thank you for having me, Dr. Gilliam. It's just a blessing to be here. today to talk about EduCom and what we've been doing in Ghana.
Exactly. So tell our audience, what is Educom? What is your mission? What's your focus? And how can people get involved?
Well, educational communities worldwide, we're on a mission to provide educational opportunities not limited to full ride scholarships and, as you said, books, school supplies, such as a lot of schools in the rural parts of Ghana, they don't have access to computers and they don't have access to internet. We take these things for granted here, because we have access to it. But a lot of people back home in Ghana and a lot of developing countries, most of the students don't have access to internet. I think there was a news broadcasted by the BBC, I think, where a teacher in Ghana was teaching computer. Uh, you know, Teaching the student about computer, and he was using what we call a chalkboard. We use a marker and a whiteboard here, but back in the village they use a chalkboard, and the teacher was actually drew the computer on the board, and it was showing them part of the computers, on a chalkboard. And I think Microsoft heard about it and intervened and supplied the schools with computers, and so that goes to tell you that there are a lot of schools out there, and a lot of communities out there that are very under resourced in terms of technology, in terms of their access to quality internet. So that's what we're about. We just want to make sure the students have access to all they need to make their educational journey a success. So I've been to Ghana twice this past year. I went to Ghana this past December, and I was in Ghana this 2 months ago, actually. Last December, when I was in Ghana, what we did was I got the opportunity to meet our four scholars, and I think Force for Health, they're actually getting a lot of resources from Force for Health. They are getting mentorship from Force for Health, and they're also using Force for Health's, Force for Health's, uh, what is it called? Force for Health.
The virtual gym and
Yes,
those.
the
Yep.
app. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
these are students that don't have access to internet, and the app, the Force for Health app, has all these learning materials in there. They don't have to. They don't need internet to access it. So that's one thing that Force for Health that is doing for students in Ghana that do not have access to internet. I think it's a beautiful tool to have. You don't need access, but you have all the educational materials you need on an app. Nobody thought about this 5 years ago, but Force for Health did think about it, and you guys thought about Africa, you thought about Ghana, and you are really impacting lives in Ghana through our four scholars. So I met the four scholars. It was very interesting. We made donations to some orphanages, and this past 3 months ago, oh, so this is me and one of the kins. I think he's one of the chiefs in Kenya, so in the Brown Ahafo region of Ghana. So that's board member Veronica as well. So this is
I wanted you to speak to this whole water project. I've got a couple pictures here, and maybe you can just speak in the background as I bring them up.
right. So this past March, Veronica was in Ghana, and I sent her to this orphanage to donate computers. And when she donated the computers, she was told that the students there, and have to travel miles to go fetch water. So when I say miles, instead of them going to school in the morning, they find themselves walking 30 minutes or 40 minutes to go fetch water, before they can go to school. And Veronica, started you know, uh, kind of like a fundraiser to raise funds to supply the school with water. So the initial goal was to just send water to the school throughout the year. Have like a tank that would just fill out the water tank throughout the year. But the good thing is that we exceeded our expectations in terms of funds. we had so many people donate, and we decided to build a borehole. A lot of people are not familiar with the term borehole, but a borehole is like a well. As you can see, the water is flowing. So we're able to, this is exactly what a borehole is. So we built a borehole, and now they have access to water 24/7. So as you can see, the kids are very, very excited.
Well, look, just stop a second there. Just hold this picture, Lucy. Look behind the two children. There's Veronica, who did much of the work to spearhead this. Again, like you said earlier, she became aware of a problem, she cared about it, and then she decided, how can I share my knowledge, my resources, my network? To Veronica's left is you, Lawrence, who helped make it possible for Veronica to be a part of this, but other board members like myself. And so is the emotion, that tears of joy I felt here, knowing that people I worked with were able to make this happen. Having been to Tanzania and watching the young women have to carry the water on their heads for miles, that was their life. But I think if you're not, Lucy, come back to the picture of Lawrence if you can, just go live a minute.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
look at Lawrence. He's a social worker. He's one of the most, I hate to say it, but a social worker in America is a very challenging profession, but it's way underpaid. So does he have an extra job in the meantime? No. He volunteers and runs this foundation. And he's recruited people from around the world, literally, from I think 5 continents, to be on the board. And other good board members I'd like to see contact me or Lawrence. But secondly, last year, they gave full scholarships to 4 scholars. Guaranteed money for these kids are guaranteed they're going to college. These are kids who barely had the money to get to high school. They're going to college, and this year the goal is 32. Force for Health is partnering in a fundraiser to help with that, with a virtual walk on the perimeter of Africa and a virtual gala on October 8th. Lawrence and his team, I'm on the committee and I'm not doing too good of a job of it, but in Indianapolis on October 8th, there's the opportunity for about 15 tables of people to be at an event or to sponsor that event and help fund those 32 scholarships. And perhaps if you're thirsty, if you're hungry, if you're scared, if you're cold, and if you don't have the supplies, it's hard to learn. So EDUCOM is looking to fund the pathway to those 32 scholarships by helping to fund needed projects in those feeder schools also.
We are on a 5 o'clock deadline. I believe we are going to be abruptly ending here, but I didn't want to leave on that. So Lawrence, thank you so much. There's so much information. We're so excited to partner with you for the 2022, right? 2023 Reality Health Games.
Right.
If you care about global education, if you care about access to water, and there were some incredible articles and videos that you have for that. So we're going to be sharing that information more, and you'll be part of our now regular lineup of spotlight teams doing well around the globe. I'm honored to know you, and thank you so much. I'm very curious. So as we end, what was the dollar amount that was needed to raise to bring water to? And while you answer that, I'm going to bring this up because I just see Valerie's emotions. I get goosebumps just looking at this picture because it says so much.
As you can see, Veronica, our board member, she couldn't even control her tears. This is what fulfillment is to Veronica. This is what fulfillment is to me, myself. This is what fulfillment is to Dr. Gilliam and all our board members we have across the continent of the world. It cost almost $2,000 to be able to almost close to $2,000 we were able to raise to build the borehole.
And how long does that we're going to talk. Okay, so officially we will see you next Thursday, but we're going to go ahead and linger here just for a few minutes for a couple more questions. How long does that then $2,000 provide water for?
So that is a life lifetime supply of water. So borehole, literally they dig the water, they dig the ground down till they find water, and it comes out naturally. So they have a lifetime supply of water.
So there's actually water found
There's
there on
there's
site.
there's no
You
electric
spend the
pump.
money.
Say that again.
There's not an electric well pump.
I'm not sure what the technicalities
Okay.
are, but what I know is that this is forever and ever, and it's lasting. So I think what they do is they survey the area and they find a spot where there's water and they dig down till they find water coming out. So that's what they do. I'm not sure of the logistics again, but lifetime supply of water.
Was that water source on the property of where like the school was?
This is the location at that is the orphanage, by the way, and the orphanage is the same place they go to school. So because the school is like 2 hours away, what they did is they kind of set up a small school where all the students sit and actually study. So it's an orphanage and it's also a school. Yeah. So as you can see, behind the behind there, right behind there is the classrooms, right
There's
there.
the chalkboard.
Yeah, you can see the chalkboard right there. Yeah, so that's the school.
Outdoors, not paved. But if you show that other image with the tank in it, there's like a blue tank on the left in one of the pictures.
Mhm.
I don't know if you just showed it a minute ago. If you go back again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like,
That's all right. Just thumb through it. The beauty is when that tank is full, then there's water pressure to have things come through a pipe.
Right.
And that tank, depending on the color of it, like that's a dark colored tank. So that tank could be there to hold water for warm water, such as a shower with solar
Right.
gain. So that's a solar hot water heater and storage tank. So these kids are getting a warm shower, not just sweating, hiking to get a canteen full of water.
And they don't have
God
to
bless you.
wake up early in the morning to go fetch water. That takes away time for school. They do
And
that
now,
every morning. So God bless Veronica. God bless you, Dr. Gilliam, and all the board members and the support of Force for Health. Because I don't think we could have got where we are if it wasn't the support from you all.
well,
Last week we featured our team that we activated in Kenya, in Nairobi, and there was actually a consortium of about 20 educators that represented the Kibera slum schools, out there. And, it's just an empathy exercise and a gratitude exercise to when we're talking about protect the gift and we're here in the US, we might be complaining that nothing's on TV and, I'm stressed. Whereas there's other people in other parts of the world that have to actually work for water.
You're definitely right about that. We all have our own definitions of stress, but I always say, as a therapist, whatever you're going through, just remember somebody is going through worse. So we all go through our own problems, but there is somebody out there that is just going through something very, very worse, sir, than you are. So remember that, and that should keep you thriving.
And having worked with some African focused teams in the last 6 months, we've created some content, and so we now have some badges that folks can earn through about nutrition or Kenya basics. I'm excited to work with you and Addison, who we'd be remiss for not mentioning as our Force for Health intern director.
Addison Conlon.
Addison Conlon. So he's created some content. He's a senior in nutrition and science out of the University of Ghana. So lots of cool things that we can do together this year. Officially welcome on board. Thank you for being our Force for Health Hero highlight. And thank you for everything that you do
Thank you guys
for your
so
homeland there in Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lucy, do you have your ticket yet for October 8th?
Yes.
Indianapolis.
I was gonna ask you. Are you coming in person?
We may be virtualing and presenting there, but absolutely. So October 8th in Indiana, or I know that they're also offering a virtual opportunity to present, but they're also, like I said, a STEAM team in the Reality Health Games. So if you want to play along, walk the perimeter of Africa, earn some badges, and learn more about the fascinating world on the other side of the globe, play along. And we will see you then next Thursday. So thank you for joining My Fit Family Force Power Hour. My name is Lucy Howell, Dr. Gilliam, and Lawrence Fianco of Educom. Thank you so much for joining, and until next time, remember to move, learn, serve, and earn every day, right? And protect the gift for yourself and for others around you. The
Stay
gift of
well,
breath.
do good, be kind.
Exactly.
And from our previous segment, you all matter. You do matter. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.